There's a peculiar and challenging passage in the beginning of the book of Numbers. In chapter 5, instructions are given for a troubling circumstance. A woman is suspected of going astray and of committing adultery. There are no witnesses to this alleged act, but her husband is jealous. The two go before the priest, and the wife, in the presence of the Lord, makes a solemn vow. She drinks bitter water. If she is guilty of adultery, we read that she would painfully suffer the swelling of her womb and the falling away of her thigh. If she is innocent, she will be free and fertile, able to conceive children. Out of context, this might seem like a strange kind of magical test. Indeed, many critics of Christianity have pointed to this very passage as hypocritical and immoral. But we know that God is moral, and we know from elsewhere in Scripture that the Lord firmly detests any kind of sorcery or divination. The question for us then is, how do we explain what's going on here, and what wisdom can we glean from this passage? The first thing to note is that this whole rite is performed before the Lord. Ancient Israel was a culture that took seriously that God, who is the creator of the heavens and the earth, and is the highest power in the universe, was truly present with them and was actively involved in human affairs. We would do well to remember the same. So when the woman goes before the Lord and makes her vow, we are not to understand this as merely showing up for a ceremony and saying empty words with her lips. Quite the contrary. She is making a declaration from her deepest being before the foundation of reality himself, and she is opening herself up to his judgment if she is lying. And, unlike with sorcery, which attempts to manipulate divine powers, here in Numbers 5, the verdict is left entirely to the Lord. Second, the ancient Hebrews understood something that is largely forgotten today, that sin, even private sin, is extremely destructive and disruptive to life. Sin has repercussions outside of our own hearts and souls. The effects ripple out into our bodies, our relationships, and into our communities, and even to our children. Consider Adam and Eve's disobedience in Genesis 3, and how spiritual and physical death entered into the world by consequence. The Mosaic laws, as part of God's covenant restoration of humanity, are therefore concerned with maintaining holiness among his people. Any sin, hidden sin included, harms Israel's relationship with God. This is completely opposed to the idea that what happens behind closed doors is nobody's business, or that what you don't know can't hurt you. This kind of thinking is willful blindness and is plainly untrue, as Numbers 5 demonstrates. Christians then should consider whether there are secret sins of our own that we tacitly believe can go uncorrected. If we do this, we are taking advantage of God's grace at our own peril. Now, in today's age, we no longer drink bitter water, but we know that every person will stand before the Lord, whose light illuminates even the darkest recesses of our hearts. We then should confess all and any sins to Christ and seek with all of our being to turn away from them and towards God.